Hey guys, I am here in my workout clothes. I just was out for a walk and it is cold here today. I know, Southern California. It's cold here for Southern California. It's like in the 50s and it's cold and I wore a jacket to work out and then I came in and got hot and now because I'm all sweaty, I had to put the jacket back on. So you are seeing me in real life today, just fresh from my workout and sweaty and gross. But there's were some things that I wanted to share with you that were on my mind today. And I titled this video, Do You Feel Like You're Letting Your Kids Down to Reach Your Business Goals? I had a really good conversation with a friend yesterday who is building a business and who said that sometimes she feels like she has to ignore her kids, or she feels like, she's letting them watch too much TV or put too much, like, be on their own too much. And then she, as a mom and a business owner, feels really pulled in two directions. Like she knows she loves her business. She said she's even thought of giving it up um, because her kids need her, but she loves it. And besides that, she really felt led to do it. It was really more like she knew this is where she's supposed to be and what she's supposed to be doing. And she's had, maybe you're in that same boat where you've had some success with your business and you're feeling good, but then you feel like, okay, this is great, this is happening, I'm building my business, but I'm also letting my kids down in the process. And I know as a mom that doesn't feel good. We know that we want to be there for our kids and we want to be good moms and we only get their childhood once and all the things that we hear, and there's these dreams on our heart that we want to go and build. And so that can be a really tricky place to navigate because we do feel pulled in both directions. So I want to clear some things up. First of all, the problem is not that you don't have enough time. The problem isn't that you need more hours in the day somehow, like, oh, if I only had 25 hours a day, I would be able to do this. The problem also isn't that you have to choose, that you have to do either or, that you only can do motherhood well or you only can build a business well. The truth is, you can do them both. You can do motherhood and build a business. You can have that and if you know how to use your hours in a way that, so here's the problem. The problem is that you aren't using your hours in a way that allows you to really grow your business and thrive in business and see the success that you want to. The problem is that you don't know how to use your hours in a way that allows you to find joy and fulfillment in motherhood and to not feel like you're scrambling or letting your kids down. And the other problem is a personal thing where you maybe aren't finding the fulfillment and happiness and joy in life. Just enjoying your life and getting in those moments of taking care of yourself and doing the things that matter to you. And so the problem is figuring out how to use your hours in a way that lets you really get the most out of life and the most out of every single day. So, first of all, I want you to know that as a mom, you're doing better than you think you are. And I think that we're so hard on ourselves and we feel like, everyone else is doing so awesome at motherhood. And I want to talk about some ways that we can um, just some tips for how to feel like and know that you're doing a good job as a mother and to enjoy that part of life without feeling like your business is taking over, if that makes sense. So, first tip that I have for you is to write down at the end of each day to journal. And this is huge because our brains are just wired to focus on the negative. And so sometimes at night, and I definitely do this because my husband will tell you, when it's time for bed, it is time for bed. I get so tired and I'm like, just stop talking, go to bed. I am ready for bed right now. And in those moments when I'm getting kind of grumpy and tired, what happens is my brain focuses on the negative. That's pretty common. Our brains pull the negative things front and center, and we think more easily, more strongly, more emotionally about the negative things that are going on. And So what we want to do is right before bed to take a second and write down the happy things in that day. So this can look a few different ways. You can journal gratitude, like I'm grateful that this happened today. In this context, when we're talking about motherhood, thinking about your kids, I'm grateful I had this conversation with my son today. I'm grateful that I got to snuggle with Carter and read a book. I'm grateful that I went on a drive with my daughter, or whatever things that actually happened. Another way to do this is to really write out the moments. And this is powerful because if you write it in a way that really describes everything that happened, you get to relive that moment as you write it, and then when you go back and read it later. And so sometimes I will do that where I really get detailed in my writing, and I'll write, the breeze was blowing as we sat on the beach, let's say, and I talk about what I smelled, and I talk about what I felt, and I talk about what my kids were doing and what emotionally was coming up for me, and as much detail as possible. And then when I go back and I read that, I am able to recall that memory, and it's so powerful. And it has a really powerful thing as a mom in business, because what it does is it reminds me I'm doing better than I think I am. And I'm having these moments with my kids, and these are the things that I want to have the next day. So when I take the time, whichever format you write it in is going to do the same thing, because what it's going to do, it's going to solidify that in your mind and tell you yourself, give yourself a signal, this is what matters. And so the next day, you're going to be looking for more things to be grateful for about your kids. You're going to be looking for more moments like that to have with your kids. And the truth is, our life is made up of these little moments. A lot of times, what can happen when I don't take the time to do this journaling is at night, I'll think about my day, and I'll think about the things that I've done in my business or work, the things that are on my mind. And then I feel this like guilt, like, oh man, I didn't, I wasn't as good of a mom today as I wanted to be. And yet, when I shift that focus and I'm actually looking for the good, I realize I'm not letting my kids down at all. I made them dinner. I had these moments with them. I gave them hugs and kisses and snuggled them when they were sad. And all the things that I want to do as a mom are in there too. So part of it is what it's called in psychology selective attention. And it means paying attention to the things that we want to pay attention to, the things that matter to us, being aware of our motherhood moments and not writing those off because our business is more important to us. Um, the second one that I want to talk about is creating moments to connect. So, in the social media saturated world that we live in, sometimes when you look at what other moms are doing on Instagram, and they had this awesome moment, and you think, like, oh my gosh, my motherhood should look like that. Why am I sitting here on the computer? But in all reality, it doesn't need to look any certain way. Um, Once I remember I took my son Trevor on a date, and he must have been, he's 11 now. He must have been like 6 or 7 at the time, and we went to the donut shop and got a donut. And while he was eating his donut, we had change because we had paid in cash, and we played heads or tails. And we flipped this little, a penny or some kind of coin, and played heads or tails. He thought that was the greatest thing and talked about it. I mean, for years after, like, oh, remember, mom, when we went to that donut store and we played heads or tails? It's like the silliest little experience, but I share it because moments of connection, they matter to your kids, and they don't have to look a certain way, and they don't have to be fancy, and they don't have to be Instagram worthy. Connection can happen in the donut store. It can happen when you're just sitting next to each other on the couch. It can happen all throughout your day. And allowing yourself to really live in those moments, and like I said earlier, to then write them down so that you can remember. And that's the only way that I remember that story that I just shared, because it didn't, it was a little thing. It's not something I maybe would have remembered all these years later, but I wrote it down and I remembered that it mattered to him. um, So creating those moments throughout your day. And then the last one is really a big deal. It's keep your word to yourself and to your kids. And this one is big because sometimes we feel like we're letting our kids down because we're letting our kids down. When we tell our kids, okay, I'm going to be done working by 3 o'clock and then I'll take you to the store where you've been asking me to go, right? And then 3 o'clock comes and we're just on a roll and things are going so good. We don't want to stop our work and we say, you know what, I'll 3:30. I'll finish up and we'll go at 3:30. And the time goes on. That um that's what makes us feel like we're letting down our kids when we don't keep our word to them. Now, sometimes things are going to come up. I get that. That's life. But it's really important as much as possible to keep our word, do what we say we're going to do. And even if we're just telling ourselves that, if we're telling ourselves, like, I'm going to be done by work with my work today by the time the kids get home from school so I can go make them an after school snack and hear about their day. It doesn't even have to be like a promise that we're making to our kids. If we tell ourselves something, we need to keep our word to ourselves, because when we don't, and when we're letting ourselves down from the way that we want to mother, that's what really leads to those feelings of not enoughness, of letting our kids down, of letting ourselves down because we're not living in integrity. So, if you do feel like that you're letting your kids down to reach your business goals, there's a couple things I want you to know. First of all, you're doing better than you think you are. Second, there are things that you can do to make that a little bit better, to not let your kids down and to grow your business while you're doing an amazing job at motherhood. You're allowed to do both. You really are. And if you feel like you're letting them down too often and you need to get more organized in your business at home, organizing your day so that you can find that balance between motherhood and work, reach out. I'd love to schedule a call. You can shoot me a DM and let's chat. I'll talk to you later. Have a great day, guys. Bye.